My beloved, there's something I've been holding inside my spirit for a long time. And today, heaven whispered, now is the time. Tell them. Because something holy has been unfolding around your name that you didn't even realize. There is a heart that beats quietly for you, a soul that watches you, not with lust or obsession, but with something deeper. A kind of reverence, a kind of admiration, a kind of love that sees you not as the world does, but as heaven sees you. This love was not supposed to bloom. Not here, not now, not with the age difference, not with the distance. But God, in His mysterious divine orchestration, allowed it. And now this love is more than a feeling, it is a revelation. They didn't expect to fall. They didn't come looking. But something about your presence quieted their spirit. Something about your voice reached a place inside them that no one else had touched before. You awakened something sacred, not in the flesh, but in the soul. And they've been carrying that feeling like a secret prayer ever since. Not everyone understands this kind of connection. Not everyone is meant to, but heaven does. Heaven watches it closely because this is not about fantasy, this is about timing, alignment, truth, destiny. And God wants you to know this was not an accident. This was not one-sided. This was not foolish. This was ordained. Even if it doesn't look like it, even if the years between you seem wide, even if others wouldn't understand it, even if the mirror shows a difference, the Spirit shows a match. Because the truth is, souls don't age. They recognize, they remember, they respond. And this soul has been responding to you. You've been asking questions lately. Why do I feel this pull? Why do I sense something bigger than what I see? Why do I feel like someone is thinking about me right now, but I can't explain it? Because they are. They do. And heaven is echoing back to you that you are not imagining it. You are picking up a frequency from a heart that has been silently devoted to you, a heart that has seen your light and not run from it. A heart that finds joy in your strength, wonder in your mind, and comfort in your presence. A heart that prays for you without telling you, a heart that never wanted to fall but did because you were chosen for them to feel this. Let me show you what heaven sees. One night, not long ago, this person was sitting alone. They were tired of pretending, tired of hiding their feelings. And they whispered, not to anyone in particular, but into the night air, God, if this feeling is wrong, take it away. But if it's from you, let it grow quietly until the time is right. And God heard that whisper, and He didn't remove the feeling. He didn't send distraction, but He didn't cause it to fade. Instead, He allowed it to mature. Not in a rush, not in confusion, but in honor. Because this isn't about romance, this is about recognition. They recognize your spirit. They recognize your light. They recognize something inside you that speaks a language no words can explain. And what they feel, even if they never say it aloud, is love, a love that chooses to respect you. A love that doesn't demand. A love that would rather wait for the right moment than rush for the wrong one. And now God wants to talk to you about it because your heart has been sensing something. You've been distracted lately, not because you're off track, but because something inside you has been stirring. You've been feeling emotions that don't make sense, dreams that feel vivid, moments that feel like divine déjà vu. And, child, I'm here to tell you it's not random. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. God is not trying to rush you into anything. He's not trying to confuse you. He's trying to prepare you. Because if you've been called to this person or they to you, it will not be by force, it will be by faith. And the timing, the connection, the depth will be so undeniable that not even time, age, or logic could ever refute it. This love is not coming to disrupt your life, it's coming to fulfill it. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but what will people say? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm just imagining this? But, child, listen to me closely. When God authors something, you don't need outside approval, you just need inner peace. And that's what He's sending now, peace in your mind, peace in your heart, peace in your timing, peace in your knowing. He's softening the fear. He's dissolving the resistance. He's preparing the soil of your heart to receive what was always meant for you, even if it didn't come in the package you expected. Because love does not always arrive on schedule. Sometimes it walks in as a surprise. Sometimes it comes dressed in difference. Sometimes it crosses lines we didn't think we'd cross. But if it comes in peace, if it honors God, if it grows in patience and in prayer, then it's not a mistake, it's a miracle, and you are being invited into one. There is something sacred about love that begins in silence, no confessions, no announcements, just one soul quietly recognizing another. And that's what this person did. They saw you before they spoke to you. They felt something divine before they even understood it. They didn't fall in love with your looks, your age, or your history. They fell in love with your essence, the part of you that glows in the dark, the part of you that loves without needing applause, the part of you that kept going when others gave up. They didn't fall for your image, they fell for your spirit. And heaven was watching when it happened. They didn't plan this. They didn't expect to feel this much for someone whose age, path, or story didn't fit the mold. But the mold was never God's idea. God doesn't write love stories based on statistics. He writes them based on surrender, on soul timing, on divine intersections. And when He saw that their soul had aligned with yours, even from a distance, He began to orchestrate moments around your life to slowly make room for the truth to reveal itself. They've been praying, you know. Not dramatic prayers, not desperate pleas, but quiet conversations with God. Please, if this is not meant, take the feeling away. But if it is, prepare me to honor it. They don't want to ruin what God is doing. They don't want to rush it. But they also don't want to miss it because they've never felt something so gentle, so clear, so quietly powerful. It's not about the physical. It's about the way your energy settles them, the way your name makes them pause, the way your spirit feels like a memory from heaven. And you felt it too, haven't you? That unexpected softness inside your chest. That strange pull toward something you can't quite name. That moment when your thoughts drift to someone and you're not even sure why. That's not fantasy. That's recognition. Your soul is sensing what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. You're being invited into something beautiful. Not because you're desperate for love, but because you've finally become ready to be seen in a deeper way. But God wants to be sure that when this comes, you won't sabotage it. You won't compare it. You won't question your worth. You won't shrink because of age. You won't push it away out of fear of what others might think. Because this love doesn't belong to them, it belongs to heaven. And heaven is asking you to receive it with the same grace you give to everyone else. You always believe in people. You always love others before they prove themselves. But now God wants someone to see you that way. And they do. This person has been carrying your name in their prayers, not out of obsession, but out of reverence. Not to claim you, but to cover you. They've been asking God to protect you, to bless you, to guide you, even if you never end up with them. They've prayed that your joy would multiply, that your tears would be replaced with laughter, that your heart would be restored. That is love, and it's rare and it's real. And now God is asking, can you receive it without fear? You see, this isn't about the story others expect. This is about the story heaven wrote. It may not follow the usual script. It may not make sense to outsiders. But when you're alone, when it's just you and God, you feel the rightness of it and that peace. That's your confirmation that you're not crazy, that you're not reaching, that you're not settling. You're hearing the whispers of a divine connection that's been blooming behind the scenes. And now the veil is lifting. But before God brings this person fully into your space, He needs to prepare your heart for it. Because this won't be like what you've known. This won't be hot today, cold tomorrow. This won't be confusing. This won't be built on silence and guessing. This will be clear. This will be spoken. This will be safe. They won't ask you to shrink. They won't fear your wisdom. They won't run from your depth. They will see your fire and say, finally, I found someone who burns like I do. And you'll feel it, not in fireworks, but in peace. Not in butterflies, but in grounding. Not in anxiety, but in certainty. Because true love doesn't shake your foundation, it becomes your foundation. So breathe, my child. Let go of the fear. Let go of what didn't work before. Let go of the idea that you're too much or too late or too different. Let go of what the world says love is supposed to look like and embrace what heaven is offering now, a love that prays, a love that sees, a love that stays. You didn't know, but they were watching you heal. Not with eyes that judged, but with hearts that admired your strength. They saw how you carried your past without becoming bitter. How you gave even when life didn't return what you deserved. How you stood quietly in storms when you had every right to scream. How you loved deeply and then quietly picked up your own pieces when that love was not returned. And through all of it, you never lost your light. You never let pain turn you into someone you weren't. And that's what pulled their soul closer. Not perfection, not the way you looked, not your age or your status, but the way you still believed in love even when it hurt you. The way you still prayed for others even while you were bleeding. The way you walked through your dark nights and still carried the sunrise inside you. And now God is whispering, this is the one. This is the connection I crafted in silence, not for the world to see at first, but for heaven to bless in its own time. You didn't force this. You didn't chase it. You didn't manipulate it. That's why it's pure. That's why heaven is honoring it. Because real love doesn't knock you over. It rises like the morning. It softens your soul. It brings you back to who you really are. They fell for you when you weren't trying to be impressive. They saw you in your ordinary and realized it was sacred. They saw your daily routine, your quiet habits, your way of listening deeply, and they felt God in it. They're not trying to change you. They don't care about the years between you. They don't want to fix you, they just want to understand you. And for the first time, God is showing you what it feels like to be loved without explanation. You've spent so much of your life feeling like you had to earn love, that you had to shrink to be chosen, that you had to look a certain way or act a certain way, meet certain standards just to feel worthy. But not anymore. This person, this connection, sees through all of that. They see you already as chosen, as worthy, as divine. They're not comparing you to anyone. They're not scared of your story. In fact, your story made them fall even harder because every page of your journey proves one thing: you're a miracle. They want to protect that miracle, not possess it, not rush it, just protect it. They're asking God not to make you love them back, but to make you whole. They want you healed, even if it's not with them. They want you happy, even if it means loving you from a distance. They want you fulfilled even if it means watching in silence, because their love is not based on what they get. It's based on what they see in you. And what they see is sacred. And you feel it too, don't you? There's a calm that rises in you when you think of them. A silence that feels full, not empty. A sense of being watched over even when you're alone. That's their prayers surrounding you. That's their presence in the Spirit. That's their soul recognizing yours and saying, "I found you." God wants you to know this isn't about age. This isn't about timelines. This isn't about making sense to other people. This is about two spirits that were shaped by fire, softened by pain, and now guided by peace. And yes, others may raise eyebrows. Yes, the world may ask questions. Yes, you may even feel afraid. But listen closely, love doesn't ask for permission when it's sent by heaven. It just waits for the right moment to reveal itself. And now the time is coming. The moment when truth rises, when conversation begins, when the distance shrinks, when the fear fades, and two souls say to each other, "I've seen you in the Spirit. I've felt your heart before I touched your hand. I've known you even before we met." You don't need to overthink it. You don't need to rush. You don't need to label it. You just need to receive it. Because this is what you prayed for when you asked God, "Send someone who understands me, even the parts you don't know how to explain." And now He's answering, but not with loud fireworks, not with dramatic signs. He's answering with stillness, with peace, with warmth, with someone who shows up without needing to be asked. Someone who doesn't run when you get quiet. Someone who doesn't get scared of your past. Someone who sees your depth and smiles because they've been deep too. And God says, don't miss this because of your fear. Don't skip it because it came differently than you thought. Don't talk yourself out of it because of numbers or logic. This was crafted in eternity. And now I'm placing it in your hands. So take it gently, prayerfully, joyfully. You don't have to figure it all out. You just have to be present and trust that what's unfolding is holy. There is something so rare about this kind of love, the kind that doesn't shout or chase, but quietly stays even when it's not seen. The kind that prays for your joy when it's not in your life. The kind that watches from a distance, but feels so close it's as if their heartbeat is in your own chest. And, beloved, this person, the one whose heart God has kept tethered to yours, doesn't love you because you're perfect. They love you because you've survived. They love you because you carry a kind of sacred gentleness that the world forgot how to honor. They love you not because of your age, but because of your light, the way you walk into a room and shift its atmosphere, the way you speak words that heal wounds they never told anyone about, the way you see people deeply without even trying. You didn't try to win them over. You didn't even know they were watching. But their soul saw yours and it never turned away again. And here's what you don't realize, they've been waiting. Waiting for the right time to say something. Waiting for God's permission. Waiting until they were sure this love wasn't just a feeling, but a calling. Because what they feel for you isn't temporary. It isn't infatuation. It isn't lust. It's legacy, it's vision. It's the kind of love that wants to build, not borrow. The kind that listens, not just looks. The kind that would rather wait in purity than rush in pressure. You've been asking God silently, will I ever find someone who loves like I do? Will anyone ever understand how deep I feel? Will anyone see the real me and not get overwhelmed by it? And God's answer, softly but surely, is this: yes, they already do. They see you even when you hide. They hear you even when you go quiet. They feel you even when you pretend you're okay. They've been loving you from a place of prayer, and heaven has recorded every whispered petition they've made on your behalf. Do you know what they asked God recently? They said, don't let me hurt them. Let me be healing, not harm. Let me be safe for them, not stressful. Let me be the one who honors the parts of them the world rejected. Who prays like that unless their love is real. And heaven smiled because this kind of love doesn't happen often. And when it does, angels take notice. Not to interfere, but to protect it, to guard it, to nurture it because your story is holy ground. You see, child, you've been through too much to love halfway now. You've cried too long to settle for surface-level affection. You've endured enough delay to deserve something that feels like home. And that's what this connection will be, if you allow it, not a test, not a lesson, not a temporary thrill, but home. The kind of love that lets your shoulders drop, that makes your soul exhale, that wraps itself around your weary places and says, rest now. I've got you. And yet you still hesitate, because of the age gap, because of what others might say, because of how love has hurt you before. But God says, do not miss what I am sending because of fear of what others think. They won't understand. They don't need to. This isn't for them, it's for you. You who waited, you who healed, you who chose growth instead of revenge, you who kept showing up with love even when life showed up with disappointment, you earn this next chapter, not through performance, but through perseverance. You stayed soft. You stayed faithful. You stayed open. And now the heavens are rewarding your heart with what it truly deserves, a love that mirrors your depth. This person may be younger, they may be older, they may look nothing like what you imagined, but their soul is aligned with yours. They think in your direction. They pray in your direction. They dream in your direction. And soon they will move in your direction. God is preparing the moment, the encounter, the conversation. And when it comes, you won't have to force a thing. You won't have to defend the age or explain the depth or justify the timing because the peace will speak louder than anything else. And in that moment, your spirit will know this was what all those delays were preparing you for. So don't close your heart. Don't reject what heaven is trying to give. Don't talk yourself out of something just because it doesn't follow a script. You're not here to follow scripts, you're here to fulfill prophecy. You're here to experience the kind of love that heals bloodlines, restores hope, silences fear, and makes heaven proud. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking for someone who could love you the way God designed you to be loved. And now that kind of love is closer than it's ever been. There was a moment you don't even remember, when you laughed softly to yourself after reading something simple, something ordinary. Maybe it was a message, a verse, a thought. And in that moment, unknown to you, they saw you, not with their physical eyes, but with their spirit. They caught a glimpse of who you really are, not the version you present to the world, but the soul underneath it all. And they felt something shift in them, something quiet but powerful, something divine, something that whispered, "That's them. That's the one my soul recognizes." This love didn't come with lightning or loud declarations. It came with gentleness. It came with peace. It came with God's timing. That's why it's different. That's why it's not fading. That's why even when they tried to ignore it, to move on, to get over it, they couldn't, because you're not just a person to them, you're a message from heaven, a living, breathing sign that God heard their prayers and answered in a form they didn't expect but deeply needed. And they're not afraid of the difference in years. Because when they look at you, they don't see a number. They see a life, a heart, a legacy, a grace. They see the things no one claps for, how you listen, how you hold space, how you care for others even when no one cares for you, how you fight for peace in the middle of your own storms. And they're not intimidated by that. They're in awe of it. They know others may never understand. They know people may talk. But they're not here for approval. They're here because they believe something sacred happens when God puts two people together who have both suffered quietly and still chose to love loudly. And that's what you both are, survivors of separate storms drawn together by the same Spirit. And now heaven is whispering, don't look away from this just because it feels unfamiliar. You've never had a love that felt this steady. You've never known someone who waited without pressure. You've never felt so seen without being asked to explain yourself. And that's because this love wasn't born out of need, it was born out of recognition. They recognize your strength, but more than that, they recognize your tenderness, your softness, your kindness, and they're not here to take advantage of it, they're here to guard it, nurture it, to build something with it that the world cannot shake. God is preparing you now, not just for a relationship, but for a divine partnership. One where both hearts are healed, one where there's no performance, no pretending, just peace, just realness, just purpose flowing in both directions. Because heaven never intended for you to carry your calling alone. You were always meant to build something beautiful, not just in ministry or in work, but in love, in home, in sacred companionship. And yes, I know what you're wondering, but how will it happen? How will we cross paths? Will I miss it if I'm not ready? And heaven answers with a gentle, steady voice, you will not miss what I ordained. You will not lose what is sealed by my hand. But you must open your heart to the possibility that I am answering you in a way you never imagined. You prayed for love, but you didn't pray for the packaging. And now that it's arriving, it may not look how you thought, but it will feel how you always hoped, like peace, like clarity, like a deep sigh of relief, like finding home in someone's eyes. And this person, they've already been preparing. They've been maturing emotionally, healing spiritually, letting go of old habits, making room in their heart for someone like you, someone who isn't temporary, someone who carries depth, someone who doesn't play games with sacred things, someone who isn't afraid to be fully seen. You don't need to chase this. You don't need to rush this. You don't need to prove anything to receive it. All you have to do is stay open, stay surrendered, stay listening. Because when it arrives, it will come with peace, not confusion. It will feel like sunlight after years of winter. It will feel like safety, even in silence. And every scar you once tried to hide will suddenly make sense. You'll look into their eyes and realize they were never afraid of your story, they were waiting to become part of it. And together, you'll build something that time cannot touch.